Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope that you're having an awesome and amazing happy Saturday. This is Sacred Para, and I'm here with you today to talk about multipotentiality. So I thank you guys for setting your reminder. I will try my best from now on to put the reminder on my page so that you can set it to your calendar and be able to join us. Hello, how are you, husband? How are you? That's D.A. Weber Sr. I want to thank my team. That's what I'm going to call you guys now. For now on, when you hear me say team, I am talking about my husband, my sons, and my daughters. Because this whole setup is done by my husband and my sons. Hello, Coach Play. That's my husband as well. All this is done by them. And then even getting my girls together, my dolls, and getting my clothes together, that's my girls. So I want to thank you guys for being my team and being able to help me get set up. If you notice, I was a bit late because I had an eye function issue. Literally had the eyeliner kind of get into the eyeball. And if anyone has ever put on eye makeup, be it mascara or eyeliner, when it gets in there, it burns so bad. And it's not one of those things where you can just, have it sting and then hop right on alive. Like, you really got to assess the issue. So I had to assess the issue. I'm feeling way better now. But Coach Play, that's my husband, spelled with an I and not a Y, an I. And yes, that is American Sign Language, an I. And if you have any questions about your nutrition, if you have any questions about your diet plan, your meal planning, if you would like to have someone who's going to motivate you and encourage you as you are on your weight loss journey, or if you're getting toned, contact him. He's available on Instagram as well as Facebook. So contact him. He'll help you out. So without much more information, any more house duties, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys about multipotentiality. Hi, how are you, BB Dollies? Thank you so much for joining. I believe one of the most awesome things about our doll community is that it allows you, you're welcome. Thank you. That's my actual personal trainer. And it's not just because that's my husband, but because he knows what he's doing. So I've worked with other people in the past. I've worked out by myself in the past, and it's nothing like being able to have someone who encourages you, who really does push you to your limit and make you be able to see that you can actualize your potential. And that actually still ties us right back into multipotentiality, because a lot of times we set limits on ourselves and we say, I can only go this far, I can only do this, I've always done a career in that, and I don't really see myself being able to do something new. And the awesome thing about what we do here in the doll community is that we do not allow ourselves to be limited. And anytime that we do have a limiting thought and it's like, oh, I can't sew, I've never sewn before, we'll see someone else do something and maybe show us a tutorial, and we're like, maybe I should pull out that sewing machine, or I do have some thread and a needle, maybe I'll try it out. You made it seem so simple, and we try it out, and then before you know it, you got an Etsy shop and you're selling stuff. So that's the awesome and amazing thing about being in the doll community, is that it does push us, it does stretch us, it makes us do some crafting because we want to do it, it makes us do the sewing because we want to do it, it makes us do the dioramas because we want to do it, and it's things that we may not have already thought that we could do, or it may be stuff that we already knew that we could do. Even when it comes to, like, right now, my girl right here, Mini Sheeta, is over here wearing this, and this is my mini-me doll, but she's over here wearing this beautiful crochet poncho, and this was actually something that she won from Mandy's Doll Couture. Check out her page. I have a lot of different hats and stuff from her, but this was one of the things that my doll happened to win, and I was really excited about it because I too enjoy crocheting. My husband's crocheting now. He's been crocheting like for a few years, but now he's got like this pattern that he's doing that I'm like, hey, I gotta snag that from you. So he's been teaching me a whole new stitching as far as how to do it. But I have like 2 or 3 go-to stitches that I've used for years. And these are some of the blankets that I have that I did a while back for my dollies. And then I've got full-size blankets that I've done. I've got scarves that I've done. And I made my husband a hat like a long time ago, and I don't even know how I did it. He was working on the airfield, and we just needed something for his head. So, you know, like whenever we just got to do something, we needed something to keep his head nice and warm when he was on the airfield at night. And went ahead and did it. I don't even know how I did it, but it worked during that time. So what am I getting at is that sometimes we craft and we do things because we just need to get it done. We need to be able to, you know, do it, and we may not have the funds to do it any other way. So we find ourselves crocheting a hat to be able to keep our baby warm, and that's what we do, right? I believe, like I said, the awesome, amazing thing about what we do in this doll community is that we're able to really function in so many different areas of ourselves. Hi, Deb01796. I want to thank you so much for the wonderful posts that you send me through my DMs. I enjoy being able to see what you do with your storyline and what you're able to do with all the different fashions that you have. So I wanted to thank you for that. But yes, going back to multipotentiality. A lot of us are multi-potentialed. And really, anyone can be multipotentialed. It's just a matter of, are you willing to stretch yourself? And some of us already know that we're multipotentiality. That's where we get the whole jack of all trades, master of none, right? But then when you finish it all out, it's like jack of all trades, master of none, but still able to do better than just if you had one, something of that nature. I'm gonna get the full one. Hello. So and I have it on the virtual flyer, the full saying, but I bring that up because I think that that particular statement has gotten such a bad deal. You know, whenever you hear jack of all trades, we see it and we're like, oh, that means that you're a slacker and you don't really stay focused, and that's not really true. That's not true at all. If anything, it allows you to be able to morph into different areas of life so that you can be able to thrive, so to survive and thrive. So, jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than master of one. So just because you're a jack of all trades, don't take that in a bad way at all. Sometimes you may find yourself playing with your dolls and doing photography with them. Next thing you know, you may be crafting and making food for them. Turn around, you're working with some wood, making a diorama. Turn around, you're sewing them some clothes. Next day you say, you know what, I don't feel like even doing any photography. I think I'm going to paint. Before you know it, you may be collaging, just like how I've done with these pieces right here. I'm still working on them, right? You may have a board that you're collaging on. You may have a sculpture. Next week, you may decide you want to do some crocheting. And there's a lot of times that people can go, you don't know what you're doing. You're so confused. And that's not the point of it at all. Because I'm able to allow myself to explore all the many facets of what makes me me. So yeah, I may be gardening during the spring, and I may have some wonderful flowers that come from it, as well as having some cucumbers and tomatoes. And when you're eating that wonderful salad that came from my garden, I want to hear you say something about me being flaky, about me not knowing what it is that I want to pursue, because you're eating the fruits of my labor and you're enjoying it. So there's nothing wrong with being multi-purpose. It allows you to be able to function in different avenues, right? And I think a lot of different times we look at ourselves and we can feel really bad because it's like, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do or who I'm supposed to be. And that's probably the con part, the not so great part of being multi-potentialed, is that you kind of wonder, what am I supposed to do? Now, as some people do know, I hold different certificates and, degrees, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I do have is that I'm certified in art therapy workshop. Yes. And I'm actually going to pull some notes from the class. I've already graduated. I've already passed that class and certified. Praise God. Amen. So nonetheless, yes, praise God. When you got 10 kids, you hold on to his hymn and you're so thankful whenever he gets you through it. Right? But I'm going to pull some notes from that class that I had. And multipotentiality and giftedness have been consistently associated with one another in the career counseling literature. And gifted students generally have diverse interests across numerous domains and may be capable of success in many endeavors of professions, and as well as personal endeavors. They are confronted with unique decisions as a result of these choices when encountering a multitude of opportunities. Some students may experience confusion. They can experience anxiety and confusion and frustration because they fear missing something or making a wrong decision. And for other students, similar situations offer an opportunity of exploration, productivity, and self-actualization. So when it comes to being multi-potential, being gifted in different areas, depending on what your personal personality is like, you may end up taking it and having some confusion and some anxiety and frustration as far as like, what should I pursue? What should I be doing right now? How should I be doing this? Is it supposed to be what I do for the rest of my life? Or is this just for a season? Am I just gardening for a season? Or am I going to have gardening exposés and fairs that I'm going to be joining in? Am I going to become a guest speaker somewhere talking about how, this wonderful big pumpkin, expand and grow in my garden? Or is this just something that I'm doing right now? And I think that that is a question that many of us have who are multi-potentials. Is this a lifelong career? Is this just for a season? Is this just for fun? And then you have your other group that's like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just enjoy it. This is an opportunity to explore more about myself. Okay, I'm going to go hiking today. And then I'm going to go hiking for the rest of April and hiking for the rest of May. And maybe in June, I'm going to learn how to rock climb, but I'm not going to become a rock climber. I'm just going to do it for the fun of it. And so I think that when we're multi-potentialed and we're gifted, we have to learn how to be easy with ourselves, how to really just love on yourself and be gentle with you. Because if you're not, like I haven't been in the past, you can get very frustrated with yourself and feel like, why can't I just really, just hone into one talent and one gift and just work it. And you can spend so much time being frustrated with the choices that you've made, that you don't really allow yourself to just have a peace of mind with what you're doing right now. Right? So just have fun with it. Like we say, have fun with it. Adult play therapy is about having fun with it. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. A multi-potential person is a person who has many different interests and creative pursuits in life. And that's by Emily Wapnick. I hope I said her name right. So a multi-potential person is a person who has many different interests and creative pursuits in life by Emily Wapnick. And it's really important for us to realize, that it's important for us to have fun with the interests that we do. There's nothing wrong with having different fields of interest. And so anyone who says to you, oh, you're just a jack of all trades, that's all you are. Don't let yourself be put in a box to be minimalized. What am I trying to say? Minimalized. There we go. Because you are greater than that. You are much greater than that, okay? Multi-potentialities do not really have just one true calling. I believe a lot of times, especially if you subscribe to any spiritual affiliation, you may feel like you're not serving your purpose as far as following the one calling that you were destined to do. And that can put an even greater weight on a multi-potential gifted person because you feel like everyone else is just going in the one direction they're supposed to. You were called to sing, and so you sing, and you were called to serve, and so you're doing missionaries, and you were called to cook, and so now you got your own cookbook, and you got a cook show, and you were called to do sewing, and now you're designing, you got fashions, and you got this, and it can make you feel like, what's my calling? What am I supposed to be doing? And I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm here and then I'm there and then I'm everywhere. Just putting a little buzz in that ear. We are not called to one true calling. We don't really have, and doesn't mean that you don't have a specialty. You may be a doctor, you may be a mathematician, you could be an artist doing street murals. It's totally fine if you do have a specialty. I think that that's awesome. But in the same hand, if you're still trying to find out what you're supposed to be a specialist in and you haven't discovered it, I just want to put that bug in your ear. We don't really have just one true calling. Because we're multi-potential. Like, we can fit into so many different areas. Being a multi-potential person is our destiny. It's our destiny. I'm not just speaking this in order to just like encourage you. I'm actually even encouraging myself, because this is the reality of it. We aren't just called to one calling. We are multi-potentialed because we are supposed to fit into different areas of giftedness. So that's our destiny. We have many paths and we pursue all of them, either sequentially or simultaneously. So I say this because as it deals with our doll world, you guys know how much I love storyline, and I love storyline. I find that even when it comes to movies, my interest in movies has to do with the storyline. I'll give you guys an example. I've talked to you guys about this before. If any of you guys are Marvel fans, raise your hand. Of course, I can't see you right now, but I'm imagining your hands are up because Marvel is the best. I'm sorry. Now, DC is good. We have Batman. Yes, and we have Catwoman, and I love Catwoman. My favorite Catwoman outside of, Eartha Kitt. She's original. I love me some Michelle Pfeiffer in that role, okay? Not knocking anybody else. Favorite Batman for me, Michael Keaton. Okay, I can't go to Bat Boom area. It's Michael Keaton. Okay, so we got DC, but we're going to talk about Marvel. I have such a big issue with the Tom Holland Peter Parker. And it's not even him. It's not the actor, so don't come for me. Don't go on my page trying to come for me, because I know some people are like straight up Tom Holland fans, and that's great. I think that he's a wonderful actor. I think that he does bring that like quirkiness and chipperiness that you need for your Spider-Man. I haven't seen the last one. Definitely plan on to, though. But yeah, I think that he's great. Out of all the Spider-Men that we've had movie-wise, I like Andrew Garfield. I did like him the best. I'm looking forward to seeing the new Spider-Man, but I bring it up because the reason why I'm not a fan of the one with Tom Holland has everything to do with story. That's how much I'm about story. Because they took out Uncle Ben. They took that whole factor out, and I was like, you just kind of like bit yourself in the A, right? Without Uncle Ben, where is that, that fire that Peter Parker needs to become Spider-Man? He becomes Spider-Man because he's like, I'm going to avenge Uncle Ben and find out who it was that went after Uncle Ben. And then he like kind of snowballs into like, wanting to get rid of all bad guys, right? He just like, I'm against criminals because of what happened to my Uncle Ben. And he has this like self-guilt because he's like, maybe I kind of, caused Uncle Ben to be killed as well because I didn't stop the bad guy. And I'm just using bad guy generically. But I'm really big about story. I can like a movie or not like a movie based off of how the story is flowing. So I'm into storyline development, but I also love fashion. And I also love crafting. And I also love being able to build my dioramas. And I'm also into layout, right? And so these are all happening simultaneously. It's not happening separately. It's all happening simultaneously. And I'm pretty sure that you, like me, are having things that are just colliding all together simultaneously. But then it could also just happen in a sequence as well. This happens first, this happens second, this happens third. There are some of you guys who are like, and I look at your page and I see it. And you're like, I'm going to deal with remodeling this dollhouse first. And then you show a whole bunch of different posts of how you renovated the dollhouse, made it excellent, and then you're like, now I'm going to invest in my doll's fashion. And this doll is going to have this fashion, this doll is going to have this fashion, this Ken is going to have this fashion. And then you concentrate your energies on that. Then once when you have the house together, once when you have the doll's fashion together, then you start analyzing what the names are going to be and what the personality is going to be like. And then once we see those posts kind of, take place, the next thing that we see is the actual storyline developing. So for those kind of personality types, it's easier to do it in sequence, not all meshed in together. So everyone's different. on how they pursue their multi-potentiality. So multi-potentials thrive on learning. This is so true. My husband and I are constantly YouTubing it. And if we are, I'm not going to say if, but when we are on Instagram or another one of the social media platforms, we're constantly learning. Even if we're laughing at something that's like a skit, still in our minds, this is what we shared with our kids. It's like, how did they do that? What did they do to get us to laugh? If they're being sponsored and we see a certain product, how did they incorporate that soda product into their skit? Do we see the label? Okay, we see the label. Did they concentrate that whole skit on on that particular soda product? Or did they just have it flow naturally into their comedy? Like, how did they do it? So we're constantly allowing ourselves to question, how do they do it? Or if we are just learning something that has to do with just like biology or with science, and then we're homeschool parents, so we're always trying to find out how should we reach our kids, and what methods and tools should we pull from and use to help them be equipped in a particular lesson. Because the way that we think and the way that we've learned is way different than how things are now, especially in this digital realm. It's like, what's easier for them to learn? Our kids are doing coding. Guess what? My husband knows some coding. I don't really know any right now. And and I'm still learning it. Whereas my kids are learning it. They showed me the other day, they were just like, hey, Mom, look. They've got a ball that's bouncing and doing animation on that. We thrive on skin tone to be reflected for you guys. Yes. So we're constantly learning, we're constantly exploring, so we can also, in the midst of that, master new skills. We are excellent at bringing disparate ideas together in creative ways. This makes us incredible innovators and problem solvers. Don't let anyone tell you don't know how to solve a problem. Yes, you do. We are highly connected and in tune with our unconscious. And our unconscious is really where everything is just being worked out at. Have you ever heard someone, or maybe you yourself have even said, in the midst of a huge dilemma and problem, and you're like, let me sleep on it. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, I know how to solve it. I have a really fun, creative way. Sometimes it may not even be fun, but I have a very creative and innovative way of solving this issue. Whereas you may not have thought about that had you just stayed up and been stressed out. And that's because your unconscious is going through thousands of different ways of how to solve whatever situation that you're in. And when you allow yourself to just be quiet, your unconscious is like, this is how we can get it done. This is how we'll do that. So your unconscious allows you to be a creative problem solver. And for those of us who are multipotential, we are constantly in contact and in communication with our unconscious, even whenever we don't realize it. We're not just walking around here stressed out in our conscious. And whenever we do get stressed out in our conscious, guess what? We're not able to really function as the multipotential people that we are. When it comes to new interests that emerge, our insatiable curiosity leads us to absorb everything we can get our hands on. As a result, we pick up new skills fast, and we tend to be a wealth of information. And again, that's from Emily Wapnick, Terminology, and the book is Putty Like. So I like that name, Putty Like, because you're just like putty just forms into whatever container that it's in, or whatever shape that it needs to. That's us. Okay. So let's kind of break this down. We're naturally curious. I think that one of the awesome things about kids, and how this really does apply to adult play therapy, is that kids are constantly curious. Husband and I have 10 kids. All 10 of them are extremely curious. Between the questions that they ask, the inventions that they do, the things that they do, it's based off of this innocent curiosity. What happens next? What happens if I do this? Why did this happen? What can be done right here? How can I do it? What if 2 and 3 of us do it? So there's always this natural, innate curiosity to see what can happen. And that is what we still hold on to. Thank you so much for joining. That's what we hold on to whenever we are involved with adult play therapy. We hold on to this curiosity. What happens if I kind of move and shift the light this way? What kind of mood does it set if I change the light tone? What happens if I just take out all her hair and kind of retwist it, reroute it the way that I want to, that I see in my imagination? What happens if I just take off all the makeup and just try to just do this whole paint job myself? What happens if I take this yarn, like with this poncho that was created by Mandy's doll culture, and I create my own blanket? Now, I made this one right here, but I create my own blanket by crocheting it or knitting it. What happens if I go ahead and I just take this jewelry and, I don't know, make some doll jewelry with it or some jewelry for myself? Right? There is a natural curiosity that we have about everything that we touch. That's what makes the multi-potential person so much different than someone that's very mainstream, because they just think that the yarn just functions as maybe something the cats play with. And that's it. And they don't see the poncho. They don't see the hat. They don't see the blanket. They don't see the scarf. They don't see the book holder or the laptop holder or the purse or the bikini that you see out of the yarn, right? And also, being multi-potential, one of the best things that we get as an advantage is that it's happening, but we learn new skills fast. And it reminds me of the movie Matrix, in which they were able to download that information extremely quick. I don't know if you guys remember, but Trinity, he asked her, does she know how to fly a helicopter? She said, no, not yet. And then she talked to Tank. I think it was Tank. And she told him to download that information. He was like, done. And she blinked a few times, and then she was like, I know how to do it. So that's us as multi-potentiality people. We are able to learn it just that fast. We go through a few YouTubes, we go to a couple of classes, in person, online, whatever the case is, read some books, right? We got the information. Whereas sometimes it could take people years to learn the things that we can learn in a very short amount of time. And that also allows us to be a person with a wealth of information for other people as well as for ourselves. Now, one of the other down parts of that you must be cautious of is that sometimes people will want to use you just because you are multi-potential. I'll say it again. Sometimes people will want to use you just because you're multi-potential. And so you can have family, you can have friends, you can have coworkers, you can have people you go to school with, other students, use you just because you know how to do certain things, or because you can learn stuff real fast, or they'll always want to put you in a lead position to do stuff. I remember every time I would turn around, even if I was just volunteering somewhere, like if I was just like, hey, I'm just here to, just help out, you want me to put some stuff into a bag. I've had this happen to me so many times. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to help out like they are. And like they are, I'm just going to put these books and flyers and food items or whatever into this care bag, and we'll just put it in this box. And before I know it, the lead person has left because they're like, oh, okay, she's here. She knows what she's doing. No, I'm here like everyone else. I'm here to help. But because I'm a multi-potential person, the lead person would leave. The person getting paid would leave. And I'd be here with a whole bunch of other people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. And they're just kind of just shuffling stuff in there and talking, and stuff's going real slow. And I had to be like, hey, How about this? How about you be over there at that table and we're going to line up all these flyers and stuff so that's what you do. You will put these flyers in there. How about you go ahead, staple these packets so that they can already be packed together. And then by the time that this bag gets to you, all you have to do is just slide that packet right in there. And for you who has the drinks and all this other stuff, how about we go ahead and get that? So me being there to just drop off something, I literally had this happen more than once. Me going to there to just drop off something and then being like, hey, I don't mind helping. And we turn around into me now leading the project and creating a system that I didn't get paid for. That happened to me more than once to the point where I had to say no. And it's very important, I hope you hear this, that for us that are multi-potentialed, to learn how to say no, because people will use and abuse that in you. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. They will use and abuse that in you. So you have to be able to know who to give the information to, how to use the information when you need to, why to use the information, and who really does need it. Because there's been a lot of different things within myself and in my husband where we gave out information and we were there to help any which way that we could. We were voiceover actors at one point in time for someone's project, never got paid for it, watched the other people around us getting paid and go on vacations and stuff. And we were like, okay, what about us? We got a family we have to take care of. And we had to learn how to say no. We had to learn how to say no, because you will get used to either launch people's projects or keep their projects going, and you're using and honing into a skill that you didn't even know. We didn't even know that we could be voiceover actors, you know? And here was my husband doing like 2 voices and for this cartoon, and I was doing one, and we were just really, really excited about what was going to take place and how we could network. And oh my God, were we going to be on The Simpsons? I don't know. That's like a childhood dream. Everyone wants to be a voice on The Simpsons. I don't care who you are. You're like, I want to be on The Simpsons. I want them to use my voice. But we realized that we were worth more than being used. So a multi-potential person does have to create boundaries, because it's very, very easy for people to use you because of the wealth of information you already know and how easy and fast you can pick up on new information and new skills and talents. So just putting that out there. Multi-potentials are also scanners, slashers, generalists, multi-passionate, RP2s, and multi-pods. So just wanted to let you know. Now, we also call multi-potential people the Renaissance man or the Renaissance woman. Have you guys heard of that before? That's a multi-potential person. And that tells you how much our society can really make people feel kind of like ashamed of being multi-purpose. But then on the other hand, lift people up. It's such a contradiction. That's why you have to have confidence in who you are and what you do and how you do it. Because our society is very contradicting. On one hand, if you have someone who has all kind of buku money and they're branded and they got a business and they can do this and do that, they got a restaurant, they got a salon, they're like, oh, this is a Renaissance man or this is a Renaissance woman, self-made. But on the other hand, you may not really have that kind of money. You got a 9 to 5. You know, you're trying to scrape those pennies and put them together. You're a starving artist. They're like, jack of all trades, master of none. And we let that hurt us. Don't let that hurt you. Because you never know. You may become the next self-made millionaire based off the factor being that you're a multi-potential. So a Renaissance thinker recognizes both the potential of individuals as well as the enormous value of being well-rounded. When I would create, and to this day, whenever I create my resume or I make a resume for someone else, I always try to show the well-roundedness of myself or whoever I'm making a resume for, because I do that sometimes. But whoever I'm making a resume for, or even with myself, I try to show the well-roundedness of who I am. An example being, I talk about, what educational skills that I can bring or that I have. I talk about my objective. Why do I want this position? And it's bigger than just your position at your corporation or organization or foundation. It's what I plan on doing as far as like a life goal to help enhance and educate and support and encourage those that are creatives. And I may put that on my next resume. But to be able to put that as my objective, I also like to put where I volunteer at. That's huge. because it shows and lets people know that I'm not someone that's narcissistic or just about myself, and that I do value, and I want to make sure that I am motivating other people to value the importance of humanity. It's so very important because we all need each other. We all need each other. I don't give a dang what color that you are. I don't care your age. We all need each other. So it's really important to put on there, and I don't care about your social economic stance. We all need each other. So it's really important to put where I volunteer at, as well as to make sure that I stay up on my volunteering. So I put that on there. I put whatever activities that I'm involved in, whatever skills that I can bring to whatever the position is that I'm applying to. And I believe that that is the awesome thing about us being multi-potentialed and multi-talented and multi-gifted, is that we are well-rounded. It's not like we just do math and that's it. There's nothing against if you're a mathematician and that's what you do all day, crunch numbers. I value you and I thank you and I appreciate you. So do not take this in that kind of way. But for those who are multi-purpose, multi-potential, multi-gifted, multi-talented, we don't just do numbers. Because we'll do some math and then we're like, how does this math kind of fit in with this storyline? And maybe I could, create this character that also does math, and while she's doing math, she also likes to go skydiving. And maybe one day she's skydiving, and while she's skydiving on an adventure, she falls into this Amazon, but it's not really an Amazon because it has prehistoric animals, and yet also. So now you've created a story that when you research about skydiving and you research about prehistoric animals, you then realize that you want to know more about archaeology. And so now you're going to a few classes for archaeology. That's how we do when we're multi-potential. And then we end up thinking about it some more and we say, this story has such great value. It could be a movie. And before we know it, now we're either taking some film classes or we hooked up with someone who's in film, and we have taken this script and created something that can end up being like a Jurassic Park almost, right? But we were only a mathematician. Hi, how are you, Peace, Love, Rats? Thank you for joining. So it's an awesome and amazing thing to be well-rounded as a multi-potential individual. Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, the idea of someone who dabbled in many fields lost its cultural appeal, and we began to praise those who sought deep subject matter expertise. So we have come to a place now where we unfortunately don't always value, like I said, we don't always value those who have multi-potentiality unless they got the big bucks with it and the fame and the, all that other glitter and stuff. Then we're like, oh, this is such a Renaissance person, self-made Renaissance man, self-made Renaissance woman. And we are not able to really see the value in the person whenever they were just unknown. But it's important that we ourselves as individuals see the value in who we are and the worth in who we are, even when we are unknown to the rest of the global society. We now live in a world where distinctions between formerly separate industries are breaking down, and the real opportunities for growth are where those industries intersect. Harnessing these 21st century opportunities will require people who are jack of all trades, master of none, or perhaps more accurately, master polymaths. Yes, and that is by Jake Chapman. There are a whole lot of advantages available to people who are multi-potential, who have developed skills in multiple fields. There's a whole lot. Thank you for joining Rapid Learning and Fast Skill Acquisition. Learn how to learn. Adaptability, translating between modes of thought, concocting new solutions, contextual thinking, enthusiasm, novelty and variety, fit well into leadership roles. They empathize with a broader set of people and cultures. This is part of the reason why we can do what we do with our storylines. If you're in storylines, we're able to empathize with different people. And so we put that in our characters. And that's when you see well-rounded characters. Or you may hear me, or you may see in comments where I make a comment to people about them having a well-rounded, textured character. And they made a distinctive character or distinctive characters in their storyline because they were able to fit themselves into each one of their characters to create characters, I hate to use that word so many times, but to create ones that were separate of each other. And that can only happen whenever you allow yourself to empathize with people. So there may be some characters that you have that you personally cannot stand. And they may even remind you of people that you personally cannot stand. But you are able to create them in such a way where not only do people relate to them, but somehow, some way, you give this character his snotty nose and rude and horrible a heart. And people are like, wow. I know someone like that, but now I kind of feel a little different towards them. Doesn't mean I want to eat dinner with them. I mean, I want to break bread with them. But nonetheless, the way that you presented this character now makes me think of someone else that I know, and it makes me kind of sympathize with them and kind of empathize with them that they're going through that. And so that lets you know just how much of a person of sincerity that you are, because you were able to create characters that were different. And even if they were horrible characters, you still did it in such a way where you saw the heart of that character to put it out there. Maybe even explain why they're so horrible. Okay, so as we can tell, people who are multi-potential are able to really fit themselves into different roles, and they're able to encourage people where they're at. Now, you hear me say all the time about Coach Play, who is my husband, with an I and not a Y, but with an I. You hear me say all the time about if you need encouragement, if you need motivation. The reason why that's so important to me is because that's what he has done and does for me. And no matter what field that we are in, as far as business wise or ministry wise or service wise, or I don't care wise, parenting wise, he usually always has an inventive way, an innovative way of seeing things. And that helps so much, so much in life, especially in rough spots. And I have witnessed him talk to people who are in different fields, and they're kind of like, I'm stuck. I don't really know how to take my brand or what to do with it. And he'll, so easily be like, okay, well, here goes, you know how you always say this? That's your slogan. And you know how you say this, just like whenever I say, remember, anyone can write. And I of course, have gotten that from Bob Ross, who's like, anyone can paint. And I love Bob Ross. But nonetheless, I didn't really see that as like my slogan or my motto. But guess who did? My husband. He was like, that's your slogan right there. Anyone can write. This is what you can do right here. And then, he doesn't just have like an idea for today. He'll have something that he's like, and you can do this in 5 years, and you can create this merchandise in a year, and you can do this right here. And he doesn't just do that with me. Like I said, there have been multiple people throughout the time that we've been together. And I know there's going to be more who's just like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do right here. And he will have a full list of ideas of what they can do to keep their business afloat. That's how his thinking is. That's why I always say, I'm like, he's such a brilliant mind. I don't really get too concerned about stuck points because he just thinks out the box. He constantly has thoughts that he's like, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. So, and like I said, when you have the ability to be in touch and communication and contact with your unconscious, and I'm just digging back here, just to be, but it's like my unconscious is back there. When you can be in touch and in communication with your unconscious, that unconscious will just allow so much to flow out. It's an amazing thing. So in a world of dogmatic specialists, like I said, I'm getting these notes from the course that I was in for art therapy, which I am certified in. It's the generalist who ends up running the show, and the CEO, a better accountant, is the CEO a better accountant than a CFO or CPA? Was Steve Jobs a better programmer than top coders at Apple? No, but he had a broad range of skills, and he saw the unseen interconnectedness. As technology becomes commodity, with the with everything being put together like it is, with the information, it's the big picture generalist who will predict, innovate, and rise to power the fastest. There is a reason military generals are called such. And that's by Tim Ferriss. And you are more than welcome, Emperor. He said, thank you, Empress. So yes, multi-potential. We're about to wrap up on this particular subject. But multi-potential. I want you guys to be encouraged today in knowing that you are awesome and amazing, and you don't have one true calling to follow, but many. And do not be so hard on yourself. Allow yourself to just feel each and every one of the things that you are supposed to be involved in, and fill it with joy. Fill it with happiness. Fill it with the wonderful innocence of curiosity that a child has. Because we are adult play therapists, regardless if you're in a counseling position as an adult play therapist, if you're a coach like I am, or if in fact you are a play therapist, because that's what you do. Let's normalize this concept of adult play therapy so that other people can know that this is a welcoming space, okay? And this is your own sacred welcoming space, your sacred space to be able to enjoy yourself. And if that enjoyment comes from crocheting, like I said, with this poncho that I received from Mandy's Doll Culture, check out her page. Or if you crochet just like I did with these items right here, or you do artwork kind of like what I did right here with this collaging on a sculpture. I'm just showing you guys some examples. Or maybe you build furniture, you build furniture for human people or for doll people, or you make clothes. This dress was something that I had made. Or you make doll shoes, or you make purses, or you make doll food, or you yourself are a chef, and in the next 3 minutes you're painting a picture. No matter what you're doing, keep on remembering that you are not supposed to fit into a box. You are supposed to explore all the different avenues that make you who you are, and that your true calling is to be multi-potential, to be multi-gifted, to be multi-talented, to be multi-faceted, to be multi-purpose, and allow yourself to see the worth in who you are. So I thank you guys again for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to either DM me, or you can put it at the bottom of this this particular IG video. I think it's called IG video now. It's not like an IG live, but this is the live, and then when it gets stored, it'll be an IG video. So you can put whatever questions or comments that you have down here at the bottom. I just really want you guys to be encouraged and being able to know that there is a positive version of being a jack of all trades. You guys have an awesome and amazing Saturday. I'm actually about to scoot on over to my other page, RK Lemons Weber. If you would like to follow me on that page, you are more than welcome. I will be discussing about postpartum. So you guys stay encouraged. You can follow me on my next page, RK Lemons Weber. I will be on that one actually in 3 more minutes. So I am looking forward to being able to see you guys again next week. Happy Saturday. Bye-bye.